Part 3. Thoughts in Life. On the Road to Suicide. 32. Two Men. Mons and Ronnie, Thoughts. Two men today will be on their way to take their lives. But this horrible ending is prevented by chance, as if their destiny wants something else. Mons lacks an adult and mature person who can provide security and closeness in taking responsibility. And he needs someone who encourages and pushes him forward in his choices. And today, he has his heart broken. Ronnie lacks the love of life, family, good friends, and is very lonely. He then suffers far back from severe depression. And he no longer finds any meaning in life. What he felt life had to give, he has lived enough now. And soon, today, these two men's paths will cross. Mons receives an answer to his subconscious cry for help. And Ronnie is given an extra task in life that he must prioritize for both moral reasons and humanity. And the two of them must suddenly stand in the way of each other. The strange thing about this positive fate is that they are both what the other is looking for, or maybe more is in urgent need of the other. Mons is in need of money and love, but above all, comfort. For today, his entire life has plummeted like a house of cards. Ronnie is in need of finding someone to take care of, to pamper financially, and he is a master at giving and comforting. But there is a problem, a big one. Ronnie won't want to make himself known to Mons. Because if he does, it will be harder for him to take his life. And he is absolutely determined to do so. Ronnie is also well masked with a tight hood and large sunglasses. This is to avoid being recognized when he is in town. Sure, he can have a loose beard and wig on his head. But so far, he has not thought of advancing. It is also not as often as he is in town, and with it risks being recognized. He does not cope with curious people who ask a lot of stupid and difficult questions and who want autographs or take selfies. And he doesn't know when he last wrote an autograph. Some people probably want an autograph to save, if it can be valuable in the future. And selfies are well used to brag and diva themselves with friends. He doesn't hate people who save on autographs and who want to take selfies. But he usually chooses to avoid them. However, he has never denied anyone who asked him to write an autograph or take a picture. He only comes with lots of sophisticated ways to get away and avoid them. Lost Soul. 33. Maybe should tell. Mons, Thoughts. Inside the cafe, Mons is wondering if he should tell Emma about all the shit there at home with the electricity turned off and that he and Veronica have been evicted. But all this is too embarrassing, and he prefers not to tell anyone. And since the electricity is switched off, he has not invited Emma home. However, it was not as often as he invited her home earlier, either. And if she calls at his door, and if Veronica isn't home, he pretends he's not home. But when Veronica is home, he tells her to lie that he is not home. He also thinks about whether he should tell her that Veronica and he has been given a date for eviction from the apartment as well. That they are behind by more than 4 months' rent. And that there still doesn't seem to be any money to pay the rents. They received a letter of eviction 3 weeks ago, but he has not shown Veronica. He has hidden it. Put it under a drawing pad and pens in the top desk drawer. And he knows if she sees this letter, she will collapse even more. And it will obviously go out on him as well. He will then have an adoptive mother who can take even less care of him. No, since probably half a year ago, he has more or less managed himself. Maybe it has even begun to look like he is instead more or less starting to take care of her. And he understands that if she continues as she does, with neither taking care of him or herself, then it will go bad, for both of them. He can sometimes wonder if she understands that she can lose him by the social authority intervening and placing him in a family home. He does not know why he is trying to protect Veronica by not showing her the housing company's eviction letter. She knows nothing about this, and in 2 weeks, they will be out of the apartment. How would he explain this to her? And of course, they haven't packed the little ones. A moving company will help empty the entire apartment on all content in a little more than 2 weeks on Monday morning. Mons can almost see this awful thing in front of him, how he is forced to lie down in his bed in the yard, to the curiosity of all the curious. And can it get so much worse? Although he would rather sleep on a mattress far into the forest than out in the yard. Or, where do they intend to make their furniture and things? However, if he thinks about it, then they must not treat children in this way, so unworthy and disrespectful to the little individual. For that is contrary to the Convention on the Rights of the Child. But must Sweden and little Alingsås, in Västergötland, with around 40,000 inhabitants, follow it? But in any case, it will be a matter for the newspapers. Yes, all-day press, evening press, radio, and TV. It will be scandalous, to say the least. And now, after Emma's ending with him, he is glad he didn't bring up anything about this for her. It wouldn't have made any difference. And she wouldn't start loving him again for that. No, he would just be even more disgraced. Maybe she would just say,
"It was sad to hear. And what are you going to do now?"
And he would, of course, respond,
"I'm thinking of robbing a bank."
34. More problems. He and Veronica have had no electricity in the apartment for 3 weeks, and in 2 weeks, they will, as I said, live outdoors. They both become homeless and outlier. And as if that wasn't enough, he could also have told Emma about Veronica's increasingly difficult alcohol problem, which is completely ruining their small economy. Maybe even told about Veronica's relatively new drug problem. She takes all sorts of pills, tablets, but also crap that she pulls in through her nose, plus hash pipes and joints. Yes, she takes everything she can get over to keep the bad nerves in check. And all is that with the alcohol and drugs, she tries to deaf her worries or her sadness with her grief over Arvid's passing. This does not work, but instead pulls her in the shit even more. And Emma already knows, for probably 6 months, that Veronica is on long-term sick leave for mental health problems and back pain. And all of this starts, as I said, after her husband, Arvid, passes away from brain cancer. The hell process was over after just a few months. He wipes away completely. Towards the end, the brain has no contact with the body, and he needs help with just about everything. And this difficult journey cracks Veronica. She also has no one near her, more than Måns, who can support her. But it is as if his attempt to support will not be enough, or that it will not fully reach her. At least she doesn't seem to see him for all that he does in his efforts to support and comfort. But for Måns, this has also been difficult with Arvid. And he misses him a lot. But it's like he doesn't fully get the chance to mourn Arvid, because he constantly has to comfort Veronica and be there for her. And now, or more than 6 months ago, Veronica began to lose control, both of herself and her role as custodian, mother of Mons. And of course, he has to do everything to protect her. After all, he loves her and has lived with her since he was 1 year old. Maybe he should have also told Emma about the problems at home. On several occasions, during the spring that has been, Veronica has been drinking alcohol and taking drugs for every penny. He then had to go hungry. Yes, she too, of course. But he soon gets an idea and solves their food problems with increasing hunger by, as I said, going into the school kitchen and asking for food to be able to take home to Mom and himself. And the school kitchen staff promises him to keep quiet about everything. Because there may be problems then. The social office would surely send him to a family home. And when it comes to the social office, Veronica regularly receives money from it, and then her sickness benefit is not sufficient. Though of the little money she receives through sickness benefits and social welfare, only the most essential, such as food, rent, electricity bills, and other important and necessary expenses, are sufficient. But the money is definitely not enough for either alcohol or drugs. And the problem becomes so big for her. Actually, she just wants to die. But she has Mons, so to speak, to take care of. Which she doesn't. Not properly in any case. No, rather, he is trying to take care of her. In a few seconds, his entire short life flutters past. He is a black, lost soul that nobody in the black world wanted. And now it feels like he's in the white world, where nobody wants him either. He is a failed adoptive child with totally unsuccessful adoptive parents. And where one half, which is still left, is literally going under and dies. And there doesn't seem to be any help, something positive that can turn everything away from the dark and cold abyss. Everything is so hard, sad, depressing. Wants to avoid all sadness. 35. Craving for a burger. Mons, downtown. And what is he doing now? He is a little hungry and may well go to a burger restaurant and eat a juicy burger with French fries as he dips in ketchup, and drinks a good, cold soda. But he has no money. And now the stomach growls. It probably answers his thoughts. He runs his hand down his pants pocket and gets $7. It is not even enough for half a burger. Not even to just the bread. Even more tears will come. And he screams.
Damn! Devil's in hell. I don't want to. I don't want any more.
He can go home to an apartment without electricity, to an empty refrigerator. They have stopped shopping for food that needs to be kept cool in a fridge. And the freezer is empty. Nothing works in the apartment without electricity. Likewise, the stove is dead. They can't even cook themselves a mug of tea. If he is lucky, he finds a dry, old bread in the pantry, a jar of marmalade, and... No, the juice is over. He knows that. It must be water. And luckily, the taps are not powered by electricity. He can also make himself a mug of tea with the hot water from the tap. However, it will not be so good. But do they have tea bags? And in 2 weeks, they have no door to lock. The chaos in his head is only growing. He wipes away even more tears. 36. Wants to give up. No, he can't stand it anymore. He has to go to the social office and talk about what it is like, that his adoptive mother has given up and is now taking her life with alcohol and drugs. And maybe he gets a lot better at a family home. But Veronica has been his mother all his life, and should he just abandon her like this? Will he, once and for all, just disappoint her? Leave her and just go his way? And of course with the social office management. For Veronica will surely lose custody of him. It is too negative with her now. It will be no easy matter to lift her on the track again. She needs care, both when it comes to the psychic and the drug problems. He can go to the grocery store and ask if they have any ready-made sandwich, where the best date is about to go out. Or he can sit down on the ground outside the grocery store entrance and try to beg for a hamburger. There is complete chaos in his head, and he does not really know what to do or what he wants to do. He needs to think. But it does not work. Troubled restlessness. 37. More thoughts for Emma. Mons, downtown. Mons decides to go for a walk, to try to calm himself down a bit. Meanwhile, the steps walk along the street, up a small square, towards the central station, the hospital, down towards the Nolhaga Park. And he sits down on the wall of the fountain below the castle. The fountain is off. Throughout his journey, up until now, he has been trying to figure something out. But the whole brain feels like it has stopped. He can't really think of anything. He looks at some mallards walking toward him. Probably they hope he has a little piece of bread for them. And soon, when it feels like the brain is coming to life again, the thoughts go straight to Emma. Why? Why is she doing this? He who loves, or now more loved her so much. But now he also feels that she is not worthy of his love. You don't do this to him, quite simply. And the juice, 15 kronor, he offers her. And bang! She has never beaten him before. And of course, he hasn't hit her either. Now there will be a halt in brain activity again. And he clearly feels that now he has finished thinking about her. No, she's not even worth his thoughts. And he can think of anything, just not her. She is not worth anything anymore. 38. Soon goes crazy with all the sadness. The next moment he feels he wants to continue his walk. But he doesn't know which way to go. If he is going home or to any other place in town. Or should he go to the grocery store? Or... And when he thinks about that burger, he gets even hungrier. Now it feels like the stomach is starting to scream for those juicy chews. And even more crying will come. He decides to just walk around the park for a bit. Maybe he can soon come up with something good he can do. After a while, he sits on a park bench at a rest area just outside a sheep pasture. But when he sits here in the park, and in his mind chases after something positive to think about, it becomes a dead stop once again. Right now, there is nothing positive that can grab him and steer him on the right course again. It feels like there is nothing positive that he can direct his thoughts. Emma, Veronica, the school, friends. Although he has no real friends. He has never had that. Yes, maybe Maria. But she is in the stable every day, and he does not go there anymore, as I said. He cries and cries. Soon he feels that he will be crazy with all the sadness. And he can't cope anymore now. Nor does he have any good and close friends. He kind of just knows some people. But their contact is the most superficial of the most superficial perhaps. There is no friend or even superficial friend that he could trust and tell about how he has it at home. Well, maybe just one, Maria. But he can't take that step right now. He doesn't know where she is either. Maybe in the stable. And it's a long way to go, probably more than 5 kilometers. No, there is no one he can tell. All the crap he has to take and go through. About that they have been without power for a couple of weeks and that they will soon be evicted. Thrown out on the street. Without even thinking about it, his thoughts go to Emma again. Damn, he should have told all this to her. But as I said, it probably wouldn't have made any difference. However, he could have given her a thinker. Maybe even a bad conscience. Maybe it won't be as easy and fun for her along with her new guy, when she knows how Mons is doing. And soon, a feeling of unease comes over him, and he becomes even sadder. It is not just that she has run out and that he is not worth her anymore. Someone else has taken his place. And in this chaos comes the next feeling with thought. He doesn't want to live anymore. To no longer be loved by Emma and to have been outcompeted by someone makes him feel so bad and becomes so sad. And not to mention the shit there at home. 39. Throw himself in front of the train. He sits on the bench for a while and ponders. Listens to the sound of a couple of cars passing a distance away on a road, and to a family of children talking to the sheep some distance away. And he looks at the trees and leaves that will soon have beautiful autumn colors. But nothing can get him in lighter thoughts or a better mood. Everything feels totally black in the night. And this goes away. Getting worse. Unable to handle. He does not want to think of all the negative thoughts that come up. But they somehow force themselves on him. Restlessness starts again. He has to get up and leave, continue his walk. Wants to steer back to town and downtown. But he can't get up. And even more tears will come. But now he doesn't care to wipe them off. They can run as they please. Then comes the next thought. He plans to go off to the railroad track just outside town, in the opposite direction to the park he has just left. And there, in some good place, in a bend and preferably hidden by trees or bushes, he can jump in front of a fast train at full speed. It's probably not just that he doesn't know what he's doing with wanting to take his life in his emotional race. He also has a thought that it will rock Emma's existence. And although she may not be sad that he has passed away, she will surely feel guilty for his tragedy. It may take 20 minutes to walk, at a rapid pace, to the place at the railroad tracks. And he is thirsty. Wants to go somewhere and buy a drink. The juice he buys at the cafe, he wastes at Emma. Runs his hand down the pants pocket again and only gets those 7 kronor. They do not go far. If only he had had the money for a drink and a burger. One last wonderful meal. But no. In any case, he would like to indulge himself in a drink, which will then be the last he drinks in life. A drink for 7 kronor maybe he can find in any grocery store in town. Then he won't cost anything more. Besides what a funeral might cost. But this may well be another concern for Veronica, to add to the pile of other concerns. How can she afford a funeral? Or does the state, the church, help with this without costing anything? Although this thought, he decides immediately just to ignore it. His funeral is hardly something he has to worry about now. And Veronica's poor economy is nothing he needs to think about now either. He never wants to think about it again. No, he just wants to ignore her, as he does in Emma. They are no longer worthy of him. Both are a big disappointment. They've got their chances. Several even. He simply can't cope with them anymore. No, he should go and buy a drink, for 7 kronor. Then move on to the railroad tracks, and then submit. And as I said, after that he won't cost anything more. Veronica can then spend her money only on herself, on alcohol and drugs, if she wants. He does not need any new clothes anymore, no more costs for school work, or other things, gadgets. No, he's only going to cost one last time, $7 a drink. Veronica can take over his old computer and mobile phone if she wants to. And his furniture, bed. She can send them to the garbage dump, when they are old and worn. No, really, he has nothing. And now Emma doesn't want him anymore. So, there is nothing left to live for anymore. It's better for him just to disappear. And within a short time, when he has drunk his drink and gone to the railroad tracks, then, their life will soon end. Wonder if something more is happening, then, somewhere else. In heaven. The law firm. 40. Testament. Ronnie, law firm. Ronnie has stepped out of the law firm with a completed testament in his hand. He has been thinking about, at home, to whom or to which he wants to donate his wealth and all his capital from his book publisher and his books. But it was simple. He gives a larger part of the money to various larger aid organizations. And the book publisher with books is donated to another book publisher for whom he feels confident. This publisher can certainly manage to drive his business forward. With this book publisher does not inherit any money, but only his entire book publisher with all activities. Rights. So, if they want, they can put everything down or drive on and make more money, which they themselves want. They can also make new investments and expand. This may include the rights to filmization, to make documentaries, new audiobook readings, new versions of books, more translations, and much more. There are probably no limits to what can be done in the future within the book publisher. 41. Everything is orderly and finished. And now he has been assisted by a lawyer to ensure all the legal aspects of his wishes. He steps down a few steps and leaves the entrance to the law firm behind him. And with a slightly searching look, he looks out over the square and all the people who are in motion. Someone is heading into some store. And another is running out of another. There is no sale on the square today, Friday. Instead, there are a lot of parked cars. Ronnie doesn't know if he should go straight home and take his life or if he should do something first in town. But if so, what should he do? Have a last cup of coffee at any cafe? No, he can't cope with being recognized. It is best just to take the bus and go straight to the home, to the whiskey and the tablets, and get it out of the world, disappear from everything. He wears his sunglasses with extra large bows. This is to cover as much of the face as possible. And he has a light blue jacket, with a hood that has strings that he can tighten, so that the hood is pulled up over most of his cheeks and chin. This hood is perfect if it's windy outside. And now he doesn't have to be recognized by those he meets or passes by. In recent months he has become even more timider than before. He can't bear to meet people, and the depression hangs over him like big, black, and heavy clouds. And now he has decided. He does not want to continue this seemingly meaningless life. He succeeds as a writer, publisher, and becomes very rich in 15 years. But now there is nothing more, other than runaway and uncontrollable depressions. Then he thinks, and was it nothing more? He succeeds in a lot of things, but it does not bring that joy anymore. He searches everywhere but finds nothing to live for anymore. It is as if he has lived before because he so stubbornly decides to succeed. Everything becomes a pure struggle. And now, there is nothing more. 42. Successes and adversities. Sure, he's used to live going up and down. It has done so more or less for the past 25, 30 years. Yes, even longer than that. But as I said, sometimes you do wrong and sometimes what you do is right. And other times, it may feel like the mistakes are just replacing each other. And some can sometimes be bigger than you can actually handle and master. These times, it may feel like it doesn't matter what you do, because it's like hell anyway. And some of the more difficult mistakes follow one through life. They are difficult to manage or relate to actively. Some mistakes are difficult to understand how they came to be. Or they are even more difficult to forgive themselves for, that you have been so stupid. Though nothing may or may not be worse if you just pull the brake and say stop to yourself and turn around, both in your mental thinking and physical doing. Maybe you can also dare send a pardon to anyone who may have been affected. There are so many people that Ronnie would like to ask for forgiveness. But he doesn't know how to do it or even say it. Or is it enough with just a pardon? Then he feels that there are also those who would also have to ask him for forgiveness. Yes, there are a lot, actually. But to this day, he has not known anyone who has wanted to knock him on the shoulder. Nor someone who has stood smiling at some corner waiting to say sorry. These shit boots are just idiots. All of them. He has felt hurt, humiliated, and offended so many times in the last 15, 20 years that have passed. But there does not seem to be anyone who knows that it has done wrong, that it has actually done him harm. But he did not want to delve into this, but just ignored everything and moved on. Sometimes he wonders if people do not understand better, or do they think he is stupid in his head, because he does not make any bigger essence of the matter. Although Ronnie knows that talking is silver and silence is gold. He also thinks he has absolutely nothing to prove to anyone. He has struggled great for at least 15 years with his books, succeeded, earned a fortune, and now he intends to shock most people with just submitting. Maybe it can also get people thinking in new paths, getting better thoughts, and looking a little lighter at him. He disappeared and donated his fortune to the better off. Furthermore, there are so many men in his life who wanted to have him, a love relationship, but which he has not taken care of and as well as thrown away the chances that have been. And since a long time, maybe 15, 20 years back, he is one of the loneliest. However, he is most alone because he does not allow himself into any love relationship. Bad thoughts. 43. Sad and dejected. Mons, Park. When Mons has been sitting in the park for a little while, he feels so sad and depressed that he does not want any more. He decides to go off to the railroad tracks outside town and then hurl himself in front of a train. A speed train, which is guaranteed to have a higher speed at the site, he wants to wait in. He also thinks it must go fast, the procedure itself. Then he is completely gone, beyond everything. And who will be sad and mourn? He does not care. He is unhappy and uncomfortable with everything, and now he is so damn sad and dejected. With this decision and procedure, he will also give Emma a bold slapback for her ending. Then she can go home and regret everything she has done to him. But then it's too late. So completely over with everything. He gets up from the bench and goes to a kiosk, and buys his drink. Goes further away towards the railway tracks and, at the same time, drinks his drink. But in just a minute, he has emptied it. He starts to think about everything he sees himself doing for the last time. In addition to drinking his last drink, he ate his last sandwich with orange marmalade at home, and just before he went to meet Emma at the cafe. He should never meet anyone again, look up a school book, never sleep again, wake up in the morning, shower, talk to someone. That's so much he has done for the last time. And this despite the fact that he is only 15 years old, and has not been able to participate in so much. Greatness with fame. 44. Great and famous writer. Ronnie, thoughts. Ronnie has climbed to becoming a great and well-known writer across most of the world from being no one. And just like everything in book publishing, he has managed on his own. The first 5 years go very slowly, and he was about to give up on several occasions. Maybe it was all the negative about him that became part of his driving force. At home, at work, there was guaranteed harm, joy, and fear of possible success. And mentally, they probably wanted to kick his legs off. There was no one, not a single one, neither from the family, the neighbors, nor the workmates, who kept his thumb for him. No one was hoping that he would succeed with what he was doing, writing books and publishing them at his own publishing house. And when it comes to Ronnie's homosexuality, he received as little support from family, neighbors, and workmates as with his authorship and book publishing. Everything can be summed up to basically zero, and completely invisible, imperceptible, as if does not exist. There have been so many questions why, but not a single answer that could give an obvious reason why. Everything, from book writing and book publishing, goes into some form of wilderness struggle for its survival. There were bears, wolves, lions, crocodiles. And everyone just wanted one thing, kill him. But yet no one has succeeded in killing him, his ability to write, and publish his books on his own. Nor do those who follow their jealousy, which is driven by harm, joy. The first 5 years go very slowly. But after Ronnie starts publishing his books in English, things happen, and he gets wind of the sales. He translates them on his own. Then he takes the help of English speakers, who are proficient in English, to get help with proofreading. After that, the books are translated from English into more than 40 other languages around the world. The books are also read into audiobooks, and in most languages, his books are published. And soon Ronnie and his book publisher make so much money that he can basically do whatever he wants, fulfilling most of all his possible dreams with desires. Yes, the successes are enormous, which he gets for his creativity in writing books and publishing them himself. But now, after all the successes he has had, there is also a downside. He has no family, no real friends. And love, he stopped believing in it a long time ago. Everything struggling to write books and self-publish them has taken on power. And all the betrayal, all the jealousy with the contempt that has more or less chased him, has not made it any easier since day one. This has also meant that there is a large, empty hole within Ronnie. A hole that nobody or nothing managed to fill. Sometimes he thinks that he had needed nice workmates, friends, his family, who could have supported and pushed him. Glad that they have also come up with various forms of help, ideas, support, comfort, goodwill, perhaps a type of cheer. But there was none on his side. Not one only living soul, who cared, neither for the positive nor the negative. But they do not dare to be negative, perhaps because of their lack of knowledge about it all. And positive they probably do not want to be, maybe when they feel that they themselves would not benefit so much from a possible success for Ronnie. 45. Great focus on success. From day one, he has had to stop feeling and think that he is alone. Because he is not. He has been alone, to be able to spend all his time focusing on his writing and everything around it. And he has had to put a lot of focus on being able to face, put up with and survive all the disappointment that has constantly faced him. But every time he has been on his way, he has instead switched up and gone even harder. And inspirations to be able to develop have met him from all directions. The work on the carpentry, the cycle rode the 8 kilometers to the carpentry, and then on the way home from the carpentry. And sometimes, he has gone on long walks in nature and sought inspiration, which has driven his entire development forward. Instead of pointing to any weakness, he exchanged all his disappointment with bitterness for fight glow, goal awareness, and with a huge focus on success. There were many weaknesses that reminded and chased him every day, on many levels. But he never cared. Instead, he is replacing it with strength and even greater goal awareness. And on his way, he works hard to try to guard himself against anything that could be a threat. He should save money and thus not put himself into unnecessary debts, which may eventually stop him. And he should stick to his basic idea of book writing and book publishing. With this, he must ensure that he always has something strong and safe to fall back on. This applies if it is raging or if he feels insecurity or doubt. And all the time, he knows that he has no one to ask or who can comfort, when he is completely alone. As he builds and develops, he makes sure to build not only on height but also on breadth. If construction is similar to a pyramid, it is not only the height of development that is important. The breadth of development is also important. At the height, you build on an idea, a project. But on the breadth, you expand with new ideas and projects. Instead of continuing to build his pyramid at the height of writing new books, he goes on a new path with the books that were already written. He builds on a more educational level and publishes several different, easy-to-read versions of the books. And he does the same with those he has translated into English. A book could be published in several versions. And with this, he has been able to offer more and more readers to reach his book production. He has tried to get advice, tips, support, comfort, and most from workmates on several occasions. But in the vast majority of cases, he has only had a shrug and do not know, or that they expect to get a piece of the pie when it possibly starts to flow in money. But they do not really care in the slightest. Starts to give up. 46. Disappointed and unhappy. Ronnie, thoughts. It won't be long before Ronnie realizes that there is no one who wants to take a serious look at his questions, thoughts, reflections. And he soon shuts down trying to get someone else involved. His attempt to make someone care, to be curious and interested, instead becomes to try to provoke. He says and does things in the hope that they will be jealous. If he publishes a new book, has a new book project in progress, or has updated his website, he would like to inform them about it. Everything that feels good and positive he should give them. And everything that possibly comes from someone else, that someone makes a small and weak attempt to give a response, he takes it at once not to be serious, which then wishes him well. Although the sad thing here, for Ronnie, is perhaps that nobody ever mentions any of everything he does. Nobody is curious and wants to get an answer for something. It's like dead running all the way, from start to finish. And Ronnie completely loses his grip. He is unhappy and can no longer think of any trace of finding happiness. All he thinks about is succeeding with his books. And that will be the only thing that matters. There are so many who have failed him, and for many, many years. Family with parents, 3 siblings, and his son. And he has not met him for almost 30 years now. It seems to have been the mother who put sticks in the wheels for that poor man. And he has never even had any free will of his own. But his mother's husband has certainly had to act as a father during the years that have passed. And it has certainly gone well. Ronnie has never felt like a dad. But he does make a real and brave attempt to be that a good many years ago. Although it works badly almost completely from the start, and he feels totally unsuccessful as a dad. The contact with his son flows out into the sand. No one eventually belongs to the other. And now, as I said, almost 30 years have passed since they were last seen. And the last time they were seen, the boy was 12 years old. But he is probably fine where he is today, with his family, and of course, with his mother's husband. 47. To hell with everything. As said, today is the day S. And S as in suicide. And life doesn't feel meaningful anymore. This is to say that Ronnie has succeeded in building up a great and well-known authorship, which extends all over the world. He is a recognized author in many smaller countries, as in larger ones. And he sells books in a rapid stream every day. But it no longer holds. He does not want to. Can't do it. And now he wants to quit, stay on top. And maybe people will remember him after his passing. And as I said, he plans to submit today, this afternoon. With jobs, careers, and succeeding, life becomes a struggle against everything else of social life, which just crashes, like a card house for the wind. To hell with everything: career, love, family, siblings, son, close friends. Yes, even old so-called workmates and neighbors can pull too. It does the same wherever they end up. And if he is to sum everything plus and minus, then everything ends up at a constant zero. A meaningless zero who neither cries nor laughs, who neither hates nor loves, who neither forgets nor remembers, who neither condemns nor forgives. And certainly another couple of opposite pairs. A damn zero. That's all it is. A pointless zero. Shit zero. On the one hand, he has succeeded in any way, but on the other hand, he feels like the most unsuccessful and unloved person in the world. But that people everywhere love his books is not the same as they love him. Personally. And everything gets so complicated. Should he invite 10 people to an event, or a different meeting, surely none of them would reject him. But there seems to be no real love for it. Because, as I said, his celebrity and money stand in the way of everything. Although the latter is certainly not due to Ronnie being a bad person who is not the least lovable. No, it is only because he has set a price on himself, but which no one seems willing to pay. 48. Strong winner. He has met so many of the jealous, those who like to think that you should not go and think that you are something. And then when you go and really succeed in becoming someone, everything, of course, turns towards one. Yes, then this damn jealousy still exists, and turns out to be a virus around you wherever you go. You can never become a prophet in your own country, someone intelligent and wise person once said. And this is probably true for any length of time. People around you cannot enjoy everything you do because their jealousy is in the way. You have to seek your success with fame far, far outside this contaminated area. One should be, as no one, among them, and just think big. Major. Much bigger. This is what Ronnie does at an early stage. And he succeeds. Full out. Although, as I said, everyone who seems to want to show him his appreciation, joy, love, seems to be mostly looking for something more, but that does not benefit him. For most of these species, they are like parasites. They are fake and just want to bask in his celebrity. And for him to no avail. As I said, do not seek fame in your close circle, because they get infected by jealousy. And they cannot tolerate that you succeed. Maybe there is an opposite pair too. The more you succeed, the more unsuccessful those around you feel. They also do not want to show a genuine interest in what you do, respond well, make sense, and be committed to your questions. And most importantly, have an intelligent discussion with you about something in everything you do and create, with book writing and book production. And this joint, or basket of titles, can be as far and wide as possible. Ronnie becomes a writer, book publisher, website creator, book cover creator, reader, translator. He becomes 1,000 artist and a working ant. And from the beginning, he does everything at his leisure. And those who are further afield, in another city, another country, they probably want you better. And it's more of them that you can eventually count on to your small crowd of fans, admirers. Who likes what you do. Doesn't want more. 49. Day S. Ronnie, thoughts. Ronnie then struggles for a long time with depression and anxiety that is only growing. He has been on numerous visits to doctors and psychologists. But nothing helps. Sure, he knows what he should do. Ignore everything that causes these depressions and move on. But he can't handle it. What he would need is something fresh, strong that can shake him properly. For 15 years, he has built up his authorship and his own book publishing company, and for 10 years, his successes have only run away. But in addition to all this, there is also a long and angular path of adversity with enormous disappointments. And this sea or more desert of disappointment drives him never to give up. Never, ever, does he intend to give up his dream of becoming a great, recognized, famous, and rich writer. And as I said, for many years, his success has come to him from all corners of the world. Everyone, regardless of country and language, seems to want to read his books, children, young people, and adults. And several of his books have already been filmed. And maybe sad enough, or maybe more of an irony, one of his books has got his thoughts on taking his life. This book should probably never have been written. It is too dangerous, destructive, and can entice anyone to want to go before and end their lives. Ronnie wrote a book about heaven and hell, where one of the protagonists ends up in hell and the other in heaven. This happens after a major tragedy on a lake, where both drown. When Ronnie writes this book, he himself is so taken by the action that he finally believes that heaven and hell really exist. And now, as he tries to sum up his life with all the deeds and misdeeds, he can only come to the conclusion that he cannot possibly end up in hell. No, he must surely end up in the kingdom of heaven, at least in one of the lower levels. In the novel, it is quite unfortunate that one of them ends up in hell, as they both should have ended up in heaven. And as the characters in the novel do, he can always climb to a higher level until he finally reaches the top of the kingdom of heaven. Although committing suicide can also mean that you run the risk of getting to the top of hell, and with that, you cannot climb higher up and with it go into heaven. And in heaven, it's probably so much easier to find real friends. There you don't care if you have been poor or rich, known or unknown, successful or unsuccessful in mortality. But Ronnie knows for sure that he has not done anything stupid in life that makes him risk getting to hell. And now today, and for a long time now, he has felt so bad that he decided to go ahead. And as I said, later today, he'll drink his whiskey and eat a lot of tablets, and just disappear to heaven.